Transnational Corporation of Nigeria last week announced a 41.7% growth in net profit for the third quarter of this year. Now, the conglomerate, with investments in the hospitality, agribusiness and energy sectors, is also set to explore opportunities in the power sector as it takes full ownership of the power assets purchased from the federal government. OBINNA UFUDO CEO Transcorp joins me now in the studio for more on the company's earnings and, of course, the future of the company going forward. Thank you so much, OBINNA, for taking the time out to join us. Now, let's start with your third quarter earnings. The numbers look encouraging, although we're looking at some pressure at the top line, down by about 11% at 11.7 billion naira. Now, what was the biggest pressure for your top line?
Well, good afternoon. Pleasure to be here. I think you've gotten some of those numbers a bit mixed up.
Okay.
All our numbers seem to be going quite well. In terms of revenue, for 9 months, we've done 11.5 billion naira in revenues. Okay. And if you compare this to 13 billion that we did for last year, you see that we are very much ahead of the numbers. In terms of our profits, we are 5.1 billion for 9 months, and this compares very, very well with 3.9 billion that we did last year for the whole of 12 months. So all in all of the financial variables, we seem to be doing very well. Our costs are very much under control, and the results are not surprising. We continue to apply the time-tested values that ensure that businesses report good results. And these are ensuring that you make the correct investments, ensuring that you keep your costs under control, and ensuring that all in all, you manage your resources, both human and financial.
Now, talking about investment expansion, I'm thinking, doesn't that put any pressure on your overall earnings?
Absolutely
even though
not.
Money does come in?
Absolutely not. Transcorp is a conglomerate, and what we do is to make investments. We invest in 3 key sectors, as you know: agriculture, energy, and hospitality. Okay. And so that's our business, and we continue to make investments in these sectors. Our latest investment, as you know, is the investment in the Ughelli power plant, where we, with our partners, bid and won and paid $300 million for that asset, which we took over last week, Friday. We're very excited about the opportunity. We see it as an opportunity to begin to grow revenues seriously, to grow profits seriously, and to begin to make returns to our shareholders who have not actually received a dividend for quite a while.
Now, people are curious. Now, you have taken receipt of the Ughelli power plant. What's the very next step?
Well, the very next step is to stabilize the assets, is to take inventory of what we have there, which started today.
So you do not know what exactly you've gotten? Because I've heard 1 or 2 stories about some of those assets being in very poor conditions, and that investors might need to, as you do due diligence, you might need to actually spend some money to fix them.
Well, we did a due diligence exercise all of last year before we actually put in the bid, together with our technical partners. So we have an idea of what exactly is going on in the plant. And you're right that the plants are quite run down. We really has an installed capacity of about 1,000 megawatts. But currently is producing slightly less than 300 megawatts. So our first challenge is to return this plant to 1,000 megawatts, which is what is installed already. And we intend to do that within the first 3 years. The next challenge, therefore, will be...
Sorry to go. So let me just come in here. What does it take to, if it's operating below 300 and it has a 1,000 or 1,500 megawatts capacity, how do you get it to optimum capacity? What are you going to need, gas and the rest of it?
Let me break it down simply. What you have at the plant are turbines. They are like huge generators, essentially. A number of them are not working, either due to poor maintenance, some parts are missing, and stuff like that. Working with our international technical partners, the first thing you need to do is to identify the problem with each turbine and to repair it and commission it back into service. So it's like you have 20 generators in your house, and 5 of them or 10 of them are working, while the rest are not working. So you need to repair each of them one by one, and as you repair each of them, your output increases. So what we're going to be doing for the first 3 years is to return each plant, each turbine, back to service by repairing them, by refurbishing them, by finding out what exactly went wrong, why it was switched off, and bringing it back to production. And then thereafter, we're going to do a number of new investments within the same area.
Sorry, I need to come in here again. I'm really sorry. So in those 3 years, you wouldn't be, as it were, adding any value to the power value chain in terms of increasing our power generation.
But I just explained to you that it's generating 300 megawatts. Within the first 3 years, we intend to start generating up to 1,000 megawatts.
Okay, while you fix whatever it is that's wrong.
As you fix each turbine and it comes back to service, it adds megawatts.
Okay.
Okay. So within the first 3 years, we would repair and refurbish all of the turbines that have been left dysfunctional. and bring the total output to at least 1,000 megawatts. Concurrently with that, we are going to be exploring how to bring brand new turbines to add to the existing turbines there. And this we expect will take our total output within the first 5 years to between 1,500 and 2,000 megawatts. Now, if you want to put that into perspective, Nigeria currently is generating about 3,000 megawatts from all of the plants in the country, of which Ughelli is doing about 300. Now, imagine what happens when you add 700 megawatts by refurbishing the existing plants. That's about 20-something% addition to the national capacity. When you now take it to 1,700 megawatts, you find that we have actually added about 1,400 megawatts to the capacity, which is about half of what Nigeria is doing right now. And then imagine what happens when all of the other new owners do the same thing in their plants. We think that within the first 5 years, there is ability by the new owners to add at least 10,000 megawatts to the grid. And that takes Nigeria away from 3,000, 4,000 megawatts that it's currently producing to in excess of 13,000, 14,000 megawatts.
Okay, so why you fix these turbines to add more value to the overall power generation or power value chain? In terms of what it would do for Transcorp's earnings, can you give us a broad picture of what we can expect?
I can tell you that is a whole new dawn for Transcorp and for Transcorp shareholders. Currently, our revenues, like I said, for last year was 13 billion. We expect that next year, with the addition of the power plants, we will do much more than twice that number in terms of our revenues. And in terms of the profits, we'll also double our numbers in the very least. Now, our tradition and our target has always been that every year, for the first 5 years of our turnaround program of Transcorp, which is in its second year now, is that we will double revenues and we will double profits. And we think that we are going to be able to do this by adding new assets from time to time to our portfolio. So the Ughelli addition is very exciting, but it's just a start for us. We look to make additional investments in all of the sectors where we operate. If you remember, last month we just signed an agreement with our international partners, Hilton, to build a new hotel in Ikoyi. We're probably going to build another hotel again in Lagos. And we're looking at other key cities around Nigeria where we're going to be investing in the hospitality business because it's a very profitable business that we understand. Okay. Now, agribusiness also, we're looking to make new investments in food processing. Our existing plant in Benue State, which produces juice concentrates, has just gotten its ISO 9000 certification,
okay, so
which means that we're able to produce.
Overall value for not just the company, for shareholders and investors. We're looking at your stock at 194 kobo, and obviously this perhaps will continue to go higher and we'll continue to keep our eyes on.
We can say that we're happy that investors have noticed the work we've been doing for the past 2 years.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. I'm sorry, Wick.